Welcome back to the Draft and the Stash, your one-stop shop for NBA news, but more importantly, all of your Memphis Grizzlies news. Today's show is all about the trades that did and did not happen and how they changed the entire NBA going forward and which ones actually matter. But before we can get into any of the trade talk, got to do this.
Morant with a running start. Oh my goodness!
All right, Frank, no messing around. We got to get right into it, man. All right, so we're going to jump right over here into the trade. The first trade of the day was I woke up to Javale MCgee getting moved to the Cavs. It says here the Denver Nuggets trading Javale MCgee for Isaiah Hartenstein and 2 future seconds. Do you think that that's a lot for Javale MCgee?
Yeah. I mean, I didn't realize McGee had that value at this point in his career, but maybe they're just looking for that athletic backup center. It's a total opposite of Jokic, so I think McGee could be good there.
That would be their first move of the day. That would not be their last. Now, the first big move of the day came about an hour later, and that was the Bulls trading for Nikola Vucevic, coming off of his second All-Star appearance with Al-Farouq Aminu, and they sent back Wendell Carter Jr. and 2 first-round picks, I believe. I think that's everything. How is this big or not big?
I like Vucevic in Chicago, man. I think he takes them one step closer to making a playoff run. Seeing him pair with Levine, Lauri Markkanen, Nick Vooch, that trio, that's going to be nice. They're going to be exciting offensively, at least. So I'm excited.
Yeah, I think that I was listening to the radio today, and they were saying that this is the most let's make the 8 seed move ever. Because they've been kind of like idling a little bit most of the year, and they've had some moments, but overall they look pretty just average. Adding Vucevic and Al-Farouq Aminu give them 2 veteran good pieces. Vucevic has been having like a great year. We're going to see if it's real or like if it's more fluff. So I mean, like I imagine them making like the 8, like the 7. But for the Orlando side, they also get the expiring deal for like Otto Porter. So I imagine he won't be back on $28 million.
And they have a team option on Wendell Carter Jr. for the next season.
So I think this is them. They woke up today and they're like, you know what? We're tired of being the 8 seed because at the very beginning of the year, you and I talked about that they have been the 8 seed for like 5 straight years. Which is fine, but they always get bounced. So they have finally decided to just finally hit delete start over. That they got rid of all of their like best pieces today, including Gordon and Fournier, which we'll get into. But I think for the Bulls this is fine. For the Magic, getting like extra picks is always good for them.
Yeah, man, I like the deals, and it'll be a theme. We'll see more trades from the Magic. They basically unloaded the whole truck here. Terrence Ross was posting a ton of funny statuses on Twitter.
Speaking of that, the Celtics land Evan Fournier. This was for like 2 second-round picks. Do you think that was the best deal of the day?
Yeah, I think it's the move that could make the most impact on a winning team. I don't think Fournier is going to start. I don't think he's going to average the 20 that he's been averaging in Orlando, obviously. I think he's going to come in there, though, and be a strong scorer. He's an elite shooter. I think he might come off the bench for them, be their 6th man, and average like 12 and 3, and you'd take that all day from him, So
I mean, they desperately need another reliable scorer. Kemba and Marcus Smart have been so inconsistent all year that it's so top heavy with Jalen and Tatum. There's so much ISO that adding another good playmaker and another guy who can like really shoot it from the outside, not having to give up Smart. This means that, defense doesn't really have to be on his plate. It can just be shooting, passing the ball. And he can kind of board a little bit too. So really good size. I think this was a great move for them because they don't give up anything.
2 second-round picks. I was going to say, man, when has anybody ever traded 2 second-round picks for
like I mean, he's averaging like 18 and 6 or something or whatever. I mean, this is going to be like them trying to get back to being like kind of relevant again because they have fallen off so fast in the East, which is really weird. All right, moving back along. The Bulls get Mo Wagner. Let's see. Washington trading Troy Brown did Mo Wagner to Chicago for Daniel Gafford and Chandler Hutchinson. Are you shocked that Troy Brown and Mo Wagner both got moved here?
Yeah, they both got moved for two 2K creative players, which I find interesting. I've never, but no, I think this is a pretty.
I think also Mo Wagner got moved to Boston later on in the day.
Okay, yeah.
And then the Nuggets, and like I don't want to say like toot my own horn here, but like toot man, like I had two trades last week. One of which was Aaron Gordon to the Nuggets. The deal in place was not what I was thinking. I was thinking like a first round pick, but I think I had Will Barton in that. And then it ends up even being like even better for them because it's Gary Harris who they've been trying to move off of for like a minute now. So this is kind of cool because we were kind of ahead of the curve there. How do you think he fits there?
I mean, we talked about it, man. I think he comes in and immediately fills that Jeremy Grant role that they've been looking for this entire season, or really been missing this entire season.
Yeah.
What can you say about Gordon, man? I mean, he's been averaging 14.5 this season, 6.5 rebounds, 4.2 assists. I mean, he just kind of does.
It's been like a really weird year for him. It has been because his numbers are down. And just I really think that him getting to like Denver is going to reignite him, and he's just going to be right back to being like 20 and 10 and stuff, whatever.
I think so too. I think this gives him a chance to really prove himself.
Yeah, I think because he had asked for a trade I think like 3 days ago, and he was just done there. Basically whatever and which I get because they've been run like crap for like I don't know how long now. Like it's hard being down there. Moving back after the Aaron Gordon trade. Oh no, wrong button.
Well, real quick, let me just say I do think it's interesting that Denver moved on from Gary Harris. I just want to say, just real quickly, there was at one point when Gary Harris was sort of looked at as the shooting guard of the future in Denver, and
but his offense has been so missing like the last 2 years now.
Yeah, it's so weird what happened to him, man. He kept getting better and better, and then he just completely stalled out, and then he got worse a little bit last season, and then I don't know.
Yeah, back. All right, so we've got the Heat and Kings. You can try and say his name. I will butcher it.
Nemanja Bjelica.
Bjelica. Okay. You probably know more about him than I do. I know that people thought that he could be pretty good last year, and he just never really took off. When Bagley went down or something or whatever, that they thought that he would come right in and be like this guy that could get them 15 a night, and he just wasn't consistent. What do you think he's going to add to the Heat, or does he even matter?
He's just sort of a prototypical Heat big man. He's going to come in, be light on his feet, hit some shots, play some decent defense, and just sort of fill that role. I like it. They're down Myers Leonard after he got, Call of Duty ruined his career and just being ridiculously racist. But
he also got traded, but who cares?
Yeah, right. But they've got Kelly Olynyk, sort of a similar play style.
He got moved.
He did. Okay, where's Kelly Olynyk?
We will get into in a second here.
I missed that one. Okay, well, yeah, that sort of comes if they no longer have Olynyk.
Yeah, true. Do you think that he eats into any of Precious Achiuwa's time or anything?
No, I think that might have been a move to get Achiuwa more time. Honestly,
okay.
I think they like what they have in Precious. I think they want to get him more minutes. He's been great when he's been out there, and again, he's one of those guys that Pat Riley just has to love. So yeah, I don't know if Bjelica comes in and plays a ton of minutes for the Heat, but I think he could fit in well there.
A little bit later, the Sixers apparently have just kind of figured out that they were not going to get Kyle Lowry. They went and got George Hill instead. This is not going to be the big punch that they needed. Do you think that not landing Lowry is going to come back to haunt them?
Yeah, I apparently they were just unwilling. The trade package apparently revolved around Tyrese Maxey and Matisse Thybulle and pick. And I want to say going for Kyle Lowry, if you're the Sixers, is the kind of thing you have to do right now if you want to make a push for a championship. I know they're the number one seed, but I just don't see them having the kind of clear-cut path to the final that they could have with Kyle Lowry as their starting point guard. Hill's great. I mean, he's been a serviceable, starter in his time in his career. He's a little bit over the hump, but I think I think he could play some solid minutes for him. But I do think missing out on Lowry, Daryl Morey's got to be a little upset today, honestly.
I tell you, the Thunder getting Tony Bradley is good. We talked about that they need like a good big man. He's a really good project. Like moving forward here. Austin Rivers doesn't really matter in this. I don't think he's been kind of like forgotten about. And he's playing for New York, wasn't he?
New York, yeah.
Yeah. All right. The Blazers get Norman Powell, but they send out Gary Trent and Rodney Hood. Do you think this is a lateral move or that Norman Powell actually has more value?
I think Powell has more value than Trent at this point. I think Powell is, I don't want to say miles ahead of Gary Trent Jr. Gary Trent's been having a great year in Portland. But Powell has the playoff experience. He sort of helped define that era of We Are the North. For that Toronto Raptors, run leading up to when they got Kawhi and won the championship. Yeah, I think you're just trading experience for youth with this move.
I saw some people online saying that they thought that Gary Trent was actually better than him. I don't know if that's true. I think it's pretty close. Powell has better size. I'd have to see who's older here. I know that Gary Trent is a free agent.
Trent's young. Yeah, he's younger than Powell.
So I think the Blazers are trying to get ahead of not having to pay Trent, and Norman Powell's probably going to be a little bit cheaper. But Trent going up to Toronto playing with Fred VanVleet, I think could be fun going forward. But Powell is going to give them even more offense, which I don't know if they actually need or not. But
19.6 points a game on 44% from three. That's excellent. I mean, the Blazers already have that in spades, just adding more to the fire. I mean, they're going to be exciting offensively. I think we talked about it earlier. I don't think he starts for them. I think it's going to be Lillard, McCollum, obviously backcourt. I don't think he could play the three. He's too small, like 6'3", 6'4". So probably 6-man for Powell. I think it'd be great.
Let's see here. The Jazz made like a small move, and everybody thought that this was Toronto trying to open up more space to move Lowry, but it ended up not happening. Lou Williams for Rondo. Does anybody win here?
This is about as lateral as you can get with players with such different skill sets. It's kind of weird. Rondo and Williams are kind of at the same stage in their career at this point, well over their prime, well past their prime, but still able to regular basis to winning teams if given health. I think, like I said, I think this is a lateral move. I don't think either of them were doing this necessarily I think it's just a change of scenery thing. Honestly.
Yeah. Honestly, like Rondo's been really bad for the Hawks. I think at this point it's more like a name.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Brian
but Rondo does give the Clippers a true floor general, which they've been needing. Patrick Beverley is not that. He's a great defender, but he doesn't run an offense like Rondo does. So that could be interesting. That was another team that missing out on Lowry. They came out as suitors for Lowry kind of late after the Sixers kind of fell out of the race. And it just, I really think he could have taken the Clippers to the top. And, I don't know how easy it would have been to beat the Nets, who I think is going to make the finals in the East, but that would have been a great team. But the
Raptors dealt away Terrence Davis for like a second-round pick. I was kind of shocked by that. I know that last year he was like this really talked about rookie, like under the radar and everything. And it's weird that he fell out of favor here with Coach Nurse.
Yeah, I don't know. I think this is. I'm not sure what his contract is, honestly, but this kind of strikes me as like
second-round pick or something or whatever.
Yeah, so he's probably getting made like maybe $2 million.
Yeah, probably. If that.
I think this is just them. They're just clearing the deck a little bit in Toronto. Terrence Davis. It is a little interesting because he is still young. I think you're saying it's his second year, and
he played at the Ole Miss, I believe.
He's had his moments, man. Yeah. He shows flashes of being like an athletic scorer type guy. I don't know. I think he might get a chance to shine in Sacramento.
Yeah. And then we finally got like another really big move.
Woj bomb.
That was it was last second too. Like Oladipo goes from the Rockets to the Heat. how big is this, or is it
Okay,
big at
this
all?
was the Kelly Olynyk trade. I didn't see that he was included in this.
He was. It was him and Avery Bradley, a pick swap, I think, and something else.
I absolutely love this for the Heat. I think this is a winning trade for them. They're getting rid of a guy in Avery Bradley that has been playing very inconsistent minutes throughout.
Yeah.
Hasn't been getting minutes lately. Kelly Olynyk, he's had his moments, honestly, this season. He's started
I hate
for
Kelly
him.
Olynyk. He's such a
That's the thing with him. He's inconsistent as well.
Well, it's not just that. I just don't like him as a person. He he's just dirty. Like he yanked Love's like arm out of socket. You know,
I remember that.
Or whatever.
Yeah.
He's just a punk.
Yeah, but Oladipo, man, comes in. That tandem of Oladipo and Butler could be exciting, and then
they get to keep Hero.
Yeah,
they get to keep because there's rumors of them trying to get Kyle Lowry as well, and I think Duncan Robinson was the main piece in that. It was like
the package was they wanted Tyler Hero and Duncan Robinson.
And I was like a non-starter though. I mean,
you can't take those guys.
If they didn't trade for Harden, they're not going to trade him for Kyle Lowry.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think that if he's playing, if he's healthy, if he's been faking his injuries in Houston, then this could be really good for them. They are a great team on defense. They are one of the best in the league. Their offense has been awful all year. And if they are not hitting threes, I mean, as we saw in the game versus the Grizzlies, it was in the mud. It was like 80 something to 80 something. It was just ugly. And they missed so many open shots. When that happens, it looks like they can't really score outside of those or whatever. So, I think Oladipo is a really good ISO scorer by himself. He'll be able to add a really big element for them. I don't know if he starts or not for them, but he'll be very good for them. I believe also. All right. I don't think there's a lot left.
Skip. I hate Marquise.
Daniel Tice gets moved to the Bulls. I don't, who cares? Yeah,
we called it. Daniel Tice got moved.
Yeah, he got moved. Yeah, and then Reddit gets moved to the Mavs for a second rounder or something, whatever. I don't know how much he has left in the tank, but
they didn't really make the splash that I think the Mavs fans were hoping for. I think seeing Fournier go to the Celtics, Mavs fans were a little salty.
That's for two second rounders. It's crazy. I mean, anybody could have gotten him. We could have gotten him. I mean,
that's what I thought, man. Yeah, I feel like we were probably had an offer on the table and probably just didn't want it.
That they moved James Johnson in this deal. He's been pretty solid for them, in spot minutes or whatever.
Yeah.
Also, Aldridge finally gets bought out, so it's only time until Andre Drummond gets bought out. I would assume that Gorgie Jang gets bought out, as he was not moved for the Grizzlies today either. Speaking of the Grizzlies, they stay pat. Are you okay with this? Are you salty that we didn't get our feet wet at all here?
I'm not salty. I don't think there were many suitors out there for the Grizz this trade deadline, given the current state of our team. The only thing that I would have liked to see, and honestly, I don't know what we could have gotten back for him that would have maybe been more valuable than just keeping him as a veteran on the team, is moving Jang just because he's an expiring contract. But having not made a move as a Grizz fan, I'm not too disappointed. I think we've got the pieces that we need in place right now for the moment. We need Jaren to come back to really see what we've got.
Yeah.
And I think next season is when you'll start to see them kind of.
I think as soon as we hit the draft is when I think a lot of moves are going to get made. I was talking to Chip during the game last night, and I was like, well, I'm kind of in the mindset of I want to get our future pieces together now and get them working together so we can figure out what to put around them, which is why I've been kind of impatient. And so my thought process is if this season doesn't matter about wins, then what's the point in holding on to these above average guys who are going to ensure that you're actually getting wins, So if we're not really caring about that, why not move those guys out for better home run style prospects? So that they have to care. I mean, at least a little bit here, so because they didn't move anybody.
Yeah, it could almost be a situation. Our team chemistry seems like it's extremely high. All these guys get our best buddies. It could be a situation where they just felt like it wouldn't be worth it to get a couple second round picks.
So that's what I was saying. I was like, it's annoying because how many perceived potential trades do you turn down now as you're waiting to see what variables exist with Jaren Jackson coming back, like is it worth not doing any potential trades because those variables still need to be figured out once Jaren Jackson gets back? So then it helps you figure out more so who really fits and who doesn't, and that was kind of like his like the thought process was that, because Jaren being hurt still, it's really hurt us in terms of figuring out what the hell's going on here. So let's talk about some of the surprise non-trades. And that was like Lonzo Ball didn't get moved after the last, I don't know, like 2 or 3 weeks or so at this point. People assumed he would get moved, and it kind of made no sense because his style looks as though it should fit perfectly there, but he just wasn't moved. Do you think that this was the right call for the Pelicans?
I'm not really sure. I think they're playing it safe by keeping Lonzo. There must have not been a package that really enticed them. Obviously, I think the Knicks probably offered them a package similar to what we were suggesting, where they get maybe
2 second round picks,
Payton, or one of those guards, and probably Kevin Knox, and that's just. Lonzo is like a borderline all-star at this point in his career.
He's definitely like an actual starter, at least.
He's great. He's been great.
He's obviously a starter, like a quality player. Might never be an all-star unless he has just like one random good year, like when he's 26 or 27, he averages like 17, 8 and 8 or something or whatever. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, he's never going to blow you away with like a 40-point game or anything, but he's just really solid all around. I think that his biggest problem was that his father built him up too much, and it ended up costing him a little bit early on. But he's finally found his game, which is great. Do you think that this means that the Pelicans actually pay him, or that they just are trying to see maybe like if they try a little harder here that they can make the playoffs?
I think it could be a similar situation to what we sort of happened with the Grizz, where they might just not have felt like the moves or the offers that were available to them were worth maybe messing up what they have going right now.
Yeah.
They're still outside the playoff picture, but the momentum is kind of on their side. Zion's been playing great. Brandon Ingram's been playing great as of late. So, I think this is them basically trying to throw their hat in for a playoff run. I think they're going to make the push. And I think it'd be kind of like what you said. I don't know if this is them committing to Lonzo long-term, but this could be them showing that they are willing to work with him on a contract this offseason. So.
Then also, John Collins was not moved. There was a lot of heat early on about him getting moved, and that him and Trey were having problems. They didn't like each other. But as they say, winning cures all things. So they rattled off 8 in a row after firing Lloyd Pierce. Nate McMillan seems to have found a really good groove for everybody. And I guess that they decided to just keep it going. I think that winning can blind you to a team being average, which I hope that they don't get burned here. And John Collins just like leaves in the offseason. Are you surprised that John Collins was not moved?
I am a little surprised. I thought that was one of the bigger names that we would have seen moved this trade deadline. Just given all the rumors this whole season of him and Trae Young not really getting along. Like you said, the on-court product early in the season kind of showed that they weren't playing well together. Yeah. But, they rattled off 8, like you said, after Nate McMillan became the head coach. And, I mean, they're looking good, man. Like you said, they are kind of teetering on the edge of either making the next step towards deep playoff runs or kind of just remaining this sort of average East team where you're making the playoffs, but maybe not, you're barely skating in there and then maybe not performing how you want to in a playoff series. But I think John Collins is a great player. I think they probably got a ton of offers for him. And so this tells me that they're committed to him. I think they're going to do everything they can to re-sign him this season. And I think if he does decide to move on from the Hawks, that will be a devastating blow. This will be looked back as a big non-move. But.
Yeah. I mean, and then with Orlando basically quitting halfway through the season, that's another, team that was teetering like around like the 8 seed.
Right.
So it should be a little bit easier for them as well. And then finally, Kyle Lowry's not moved either. At the end of the day, They just said that there wasn't enough of an offer that really like tempted them, and Lowry wasn't really feeling anything, so they decided not to move him. Do you think this was the right move, or that they're kind of teetering on that too old, moving into like being bad territory?
It's hard to say whether this was the right move for the Raptors. I think it could have gone. I think it would have been right either way. Keeping Kyle Lowry, you keep one of the legendary Raptors of the last, decade, really in the franchise's history. And he can be a great veteran to sort of usher them into this next era. You don't see him being a part of the next era. He's too old. He's still really good now. That's why you kind of wanted him to be moved to a contender. But I think they obviously wanted more than what the potential suitors were willing to give up. Tyrese Maxey, Matisse Thybulle, that's a haul. Tyler Hero, Duncan Robinson, that's a haul. Like, these are all big packages that, Kyle Lowry's probably worth that. And honestly, if I was the teams receiving those offers for Kyle Lowry, I would have done it to try to make a push. I think Kyle Lowry's that good. But I don't think this is a bad move for the Raptors. I don't think they're really losing out on anything here. I think if they had gotten back those young players in a trade, that would have made it worth it. Had they settled for something less, I think it would have been bad. What do you think?
Well, I don't know. I like as soon as they won their title and then they lost Kawhi Leonard, and I was like, man, without Kawhi there, it looks pretty like middle of the road for them. And then they just got older. I mean, like, Pascal's still good, but I don't know. They just don't have any other young, obvious blue chip players coming up, that they're in a really weird spot. What are some other teams that should have made a move but didn't? Like who do you think was wrong for not even trying? Because I'm kind of in
Clippers should have done a little bit more than trying to get just Rondo. Like I said, I think they should have pulled the trigger on Kyle Lowry when it was clear that the Sixers weren't going for him.
Do you think that the Lakers are wrong to have not made any type of move?
Yeah, there was a move involving Talen Horton-Tucker that was being proposed, and I can't remember who they were getting back, but I remember thinking, man, the Lakers are really sticking to their guns if they're not willing to give up THT for this guy. So I think I was a little disappointed that the Lakers didn't make a move, because I think they have some issues that need to be solved right now. I mean, with LeBron and AD out, it's pretty obvious they don't have the backup cast they need to at least have the surefire run at the finals that they have or have had, like the last couple seasons. But a guy like Drummond could come up on the buyout market for them.
I think that was like another thing is that a lot of teams kind of view him as like a free piece, and maybe they're hoping to land him or
him or Aldridge. I'm sure Aldridge. The Lakers are thinking they have a shot at both of those guys. Yeah. So
with all these moves being done, do you think that the NBA landscape has been shifted? Here's a look at the Eastern Conference standings right now. Do you think
the Celtics tick up into the
top four, I mean, like, this, dude, it's so crazy. Look at this. Like, the Hornets are 22-21, and they're in freaking fourth. Like, it's so unfair. Oh my God. So I mean, I could see the Bulls moving up. I can see the Celtics moving up. I could easily see the Hawks, the Knicks, and the Hornets all just plummeting.
Yeah.
Not like, okay, I'm sorry. Okay. The Hornets are going to plummet. I think that the Knicks and Hawks will be fighting for the 8, but I see that the Pacers and Celtics, the Boston and Chicago will both likely make a run here.
Yeah, I think Boston and with the moves that they made, Boston and Chicago both have a shot of, kind of sliding into the tail end of the playoff.
We've got
seeding here
31 games left, I think, or something, or whatever, something like that.
Yeah,
30 games left. So if they go like 20-10, that's not bad. That's like 41-33. That should get them around the 6th seed or so.
What does this mean for Robert Williams? Daniel Tice got traded?
He's going to start, isn't he? I mean, like,
I was going to say, does this make him the starter? Because if so, I like this trade even more. I think Robert Williams was hitting on that bench behind.
We've been a fan of him for like a while now. And then in the West, do you think that the Blazers or the Nuggets actually make a run? And do you think that the Lakers become the best like 6th seed ever?
Oh
if
God,
they
yeah.
keep falling?
I feel bad for whoever has to match up with them in the first round purely
Dude,
because LeBron and AD
my biggest fear is that the Lakers fall to 7 and then get back AD and LeBron, and the Grizzlies have to play them.
Oh God.
In the damn playing game or something or whatever. Just unfair, man.
That would be very unfair if we end up having to play the Lakers for the play-in. God. Yeah.
All right. Yeah, guys, thank you so much. Trade season is always great. It's always super exciting. No other league has what the NBA does, where it's just like a ticking clock, and it's just like at the very end, it would just like move. It's so much fun, and I think it's one of the only sports where one player can literally turn everything. You know, I mean, football, you can get a quarterback, but even then, it still takes like a bunch of guys. But basketball, you could be just one guy away and he can turn around everything. So that's what a lot of these teams are hoping. We look forward to talking about the second half of the season with y'all. We'll get back next week. Maybe Jaren Jackson will be back. Who knows? If we are nearing the end of March, that's when he was supposed to be, re-looked at and everything. And we will get back onto like normal Grizzlies talking stuff, whatever, and more like NBA stuff. Frank, any words left for the trade season?
This was a good trade deadline. It was sort of the opposite of last year, where leading up to it, nothing happened, and then right at the deadline, everything happened. This one was a little bit more spaced out, which I enjoyed. It let me catch up with everything and sort of follow it like a good storyline or something. So,
and very quickly, do you think that PJ Tucker actually moves the needle for the Bucs at all?
PJ Tucker to the Bucs, he's a solid 3-and-D guy. I think they could use more of that. So I like it. I like it.
It's fine. I mean, he provides some veteran toughness for them.
Yeah.
And like a pretty good big man, lockdown defender kind of or whatever.
Yeah. So some positional defense for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Guys, as always, if you'd like to stay up to date with the Draft and Stash, please hit the like and the subscribe button. That's the best way to figure out when we drop our new videos. Please come back next week for more NBA and Grizzlies talk. Until then, let's go Grizz.
Let's go, Grizz.